you know, Americans and Canadians differ on this to some degree, but in Canada we kind of view the American Revolution as Englishmen standing up for their rights.
As Englishmen standing up for their
rights?
rights?
Yeah, well, the UK had a very well-developed tradition of belief in intrinsic human rights long before the American Revolution. I'm not saying the American Revolution was trivial, because it wasn't trivial, but it's an extension and elaboration of a set of principles that were there long before the American Revolution occurred. And so...
As a Canadian, do you think America is the greatest country in the world?
It's probably, yeah, probably. I mean, every time I go to the UK, or Europe in general for that matter, I'm stunningly impressed. The UK is an amazing place, and its institutions are so remarkable. Oxford and Cambridge, they're so, I mean, I was at Harvard for a long time. The depth of history there, the weight of that tradition, the commitment of people to free speech. The UK is an amazing country. The United States has the advantages of the UK, and then it's much bigger. You have a huge population. It's incredibly diverse. Your political institutions also allow for a diverse range of experiments at the state level. That really seems to be working out well, much better than in Canada, for example. The United States has this amazing theatricality that's such a potent force. It's so obvious when you come here from Canada, because everything in the United States is like a movie set. I was at this gala a week ago. DeSantis spoke at it, a Common Sense Society. And it was a European organization set up to foster free speech. And they had an ex-military guy, a black guy, sing the national anthem before the formal dinner started. And he just belted it out, you know, with this kind of gospel undertone. And this whole culture, your whole culture is saturated by this unbelievably powerful pop culture that just has its tentacles out everywhere in the world. And so he belted out the national anthem a cappella in a way you'd never hear a Canadian belt out, "O Canada." And then they had another guy who was also black, as it turned out, get up and do the prayer before dinner. And you could just see him channeling that kind of gospel evangelism that's a big part of the southern U.S. culture. And so that was amazingly theatrical. And
do you want to attempt to reenact that?
No, I couldn't do it justice. And then, you know, they showed this video about freedom that was all theatrical. And the Americans, you Americans are you're unbelievably good at that. It shows a culture that has this immense belief in its dream. And that manifests itself especially in pop culture. It just manifests itself everywhere in pop culture. And American pop culture clearly dominates the world. And part of it is that dream of a better future that's accessible to all, that is given voice through all of that pop culture. I mean, including the automobile, for that matter, because that's an expression of pop culture. And it's certainly not obvious to me at all that it wasn't the automobile that doomed the communists, because nothing says freedom and individual sovereignty like a 16-year-old with a 400 horsepower Mustang. You know, and I know perfectly well if the automobile was invented today, that no ordinary person would be able to have one, because they'd be too dangerous. You have to take a 10-year course and then, you know, pay $1 million a month for insurance and be encased in styrofoam. And the car, that's a bloody miracle. It's like, well, why don't we let people go wherever they want in these unbelievably dangerous contraptions?
What
because
a point.
There's almost nothing more dangerous than driving, right? And you let kids do it. It's like 16, yeah, you can drive, why not? It's like, well, because you run people over.
But you can't drink. You can't have a beer.
Yeah. But it's so wonderful. And you have all this autonomy in a vehicle. It just yells out individual liberty. So then you export those to communist countries. It's like you think you're exporting cars. You don't think there's a political message embedded in the existence of an automobile. Wow. So you haven't thought about it.